Welcome. My name is Matt Bautel, and this is our first video for this quarter. What I want to show you right now is a quick app that I wrote called Coffee Counter, because coffee is really cool, and because I want to give you a quick overview of what it's like to create an Android app, just to get the flow of how we do things. So I'm not going to be slowing down and explaining every little thing that we do, but instead I just want you to get a feel for the overall workflow of the app. So let's go ahead into Eclipse. In Eclipse, I want to go ahead and create a new Android application project, and the application name I'm going to call as Coffee Counter. Project name will be the same thing. I'll just put in a space here, and then I usually like to give a reverse URL here. So edu Rose Holman, and then my last name here, and then I'm going to move up the minimum required SDK up to ice cream sandwich. That's going to make some things simpler as we go later on. That's fine. The default is fine. I'm going to use text right here, and I'm just going to call it coffee and surround it with a circle and keep going. The defaults are fine for the rest. And that's going to load. It's a little bit overkill with what it creates here. We actually don't need all the resources that it makes. So it's going to give us a layout here that has a fragment. We do not need that fragment. So I'm going to go back to the activity. And in the activity that we see here, it gives us a blank screen. And on this screen, it starts off actually referring to the thing that I deleted. So I'm going to delete that as well. And save it and go back to the layout here. Okay, so I need a new relative layout here. So I'll drag that in. And I'm going to want to put an image here. And to make an image view, I'm going to need an image. So I'm going to drag in elsewhere from Windows an image of coffee. So I'm going to dump this guy in here and then create the image view, drag it in. And when I drag it in, it's going to ask me which one do I want, and it recognizes my coffee image here. So I'll create that guy, drag it up a little bit. And I think that looks pretty good there. I want some margins, so I'm going to click on my image view and go down. So I should have some layout parameters here. And one of the parameters that I want are margins. So margin here, I'm going to make it to be 10 dp. All right, so that's going to put a little 10 pixel margin around the whole thing. All right, after that, I want a few other things. So up in form widgets, I can grab a text view. This is where I'm going to say how much coffee they've drunk. And I want a couple of buttons here. So I want a button for to represent me drinking a cup, and then another button to reset the number. All right, so let's take these guys, and I'm going to click them up here. So I get the, whoops, click too far. Go back to the graphical layout here. I get the text view, and let's see what I have within this. So the text view itself, the text, I'm going to say I drank no cups. And then the text size, I'm going to make this 24 scale independent pixels. That should be fine. And that looks okay. And then the buttons here, layout is going to be below text view 1. I want to call that other guy. Let's go back to the text view here. I want its ID to be something like message text, so I can refer to it from the other one. So button 1 then. All right, let's do the update here. All right, I'm going to go into button 1, and this guy, its layout should be below message text, so it updated that for me. And the text itself, I'm going to say drink a cup. We can see it update here. And then I want to make it a little bit wider, so I'm going to go into its layout parameters as well and change the margin on this guy to be 10 pixels too. All right, and its width, I want the width to match the parent, so I'll select that, and it's going to make it, the full width. Let's do the same thing for this last button. So button 2 here, it needs to be below the other one. So let's change button 1's ID to be, this will be the drink button. And then button 2, let's see, let's update this as well. And button 2 we'll say is going to go below drink button. And rather than aligning the right, I think that's not what we want. Going back down to the margins here, give that guy 10 dp and make its width to be match the parent as well. All right, and that'll stretch it out nicely. Okay, so I have a pretty good layout. And if I look here over in the XML, I can see that I have a relative layout with an image view with various properties that I had set. I have a text view underneath it. All right, so it has an ID of message text. And then I have button, my first button, which is my drink button, underneath this guy. And I also have, we see that it's below the message text. And then the second button here, I want to call this one the reset button. And then it's below the drink button, and it's centered, and it has some parameters as well. All right, so I'm done with the XML. Pretty happy with it. It's tested as far as I'm concerned, as far as what it looks like. So let's go ahead and make it do things, right? So I want to be able to, when I click drink a cup, I want it to be able to tell me how many cups I've drunk at that point, and then I have a reset button. And it looks like I should do one more thing. I should have this guy say reset here. So for my reset button, go up the top and grab its text and make that just reset. All right, now I'm going to go over to, in the source folder, to my main activity.java, double click on this guy, and a few things. So it gave me a fragment to begin with. I actually don't need this, so I'm going to delete that. And then I'm also going to delete these things that have to do with fragments and also with menus, since I don't have any menus. So I start off with something very basic. So onCreate is a method that's going to be called kind of like a constructor when this activity is made. It calls up to the superclass, and then it says set the content view to be that activity main layout that I've been working on. All right, so have that there. So if I want to change the text, what I can do is do what's called capturing the view. So if I type in find view by ID, and then I pass in r.id. For instance, my message text. All right, this is going to return a view that I can use. Now I know that it's a text view, so I'm going to cast it, and then I'll actually go ahead and save that in a variable. So, and I'm just going to call it message text. Oops, message text, and import that using Control-Shift-O. And then I could actually do things like take the message text and set its text to be something different. And I could say something like, I drank, I don't know, 5 cups. And if I were to take and save and run this program right now, so I had an emulator running in the background here. So here's my emulator, it's running. And it says I drank 5 cups, right? So super, looks good so far. Let me drag this guy out of the way and do some more stuff. So what do we have? We have a couple of buttons here. So just like I captured the text view, I'm going to capture the buttons as well. So I'm going to have one called my drink button, and I'll call find view by ID and cast it to a button. r.id. You remember I set it to be drink button before. So now I have this button. I'll import button as well. And to listen for clicks, I'm going to do what's called setting an Onclicklistener. And I could have a few things here. I could have the whole class respond. What I'm going to do instead is create an anonymous one right now. So view Onclicklistener. And we'll have this, select this guy. I'm going to import the listener. And then when it's clicked, what I want to do is increase the number of increase the number of cups that I've drunk. So I'm going to need a field for that. So I'll create one, private int my number of cups, and I'll make that be 0. initially, and then we'll say here that if I click the drink button, then I want to increase that number of cups, and I want to set the text to be the new number, right? So instead of drinking 5 cups all the time, I'm going to drink my number of cups. And I'll even say of coffee. Hopefully that still fits there. And what is message text? Well, it's probably complaining because I didn't make it a final variable. Sure. So let's go ahead and make this guy final. And whoops, put it in the wrong place. So let's go ahead and make this final and rerun it. Okay, and it came up here and it says I drank 1 cup, 2 cups, 3 cups, and so on. All right, let's finish this guy up. So what I want to do is go back here and do something very similar. So let's make a reset button. And that guy was r.id dot. That's going to be our reset button. And we'll give reset button an Onclicklistener. And then I'll specify the callback right here, new Onclicklistener. And when this guy is clicked, we just want to, of course, just set the number of cups back to 0. And then we can say again what we drank. And for what it's worth, I'm actually going to change what happens initially here to say that I drank 0 cups of coffee so it doesn't start off as 5. And we'll relaunch this guy once again. Okay, testing it. So I drank 0 cups of coffee, 1 cups, 2 cups, 3, 4, and so on. Whew, it's a long night. My goodness. All right, let's reset this back to 0. It's a new day, and we're ready to go. All right, so again, no, I'm going really fast here, but I just wanted to give you an overview of what we were doing. Next time we'll go into much more depth and explain the whole process again on a slightly different app. All right, have a great day. See you later.